All right, so are you ready to dive into one of those big mysteries that everyone wonders about?
Hmm.
What happens after we die?
Oh, yeah. Always a popular topic.
And we're not just going to like speculate or anything.
Ah,
We're going right to the source.
okay.
Firsthand accounts from people who have experienced the afterlife
Wow.
through hypnotic regression.
Fascinating.
Yeah. And the book we're using as our guide this time
Okay.
is Dolores Cannon's Between Death and Life.
I've heard of that one.
Yeah, and it really like challenges a lot of our preconceived notions about what's waiting for us
Right.
after this life is over.
Well, and I think what Canon does so well is she kind of
Hmm.
moves beyond those simple ideas about like heaven and hell.
Right, exactly.
And it's more about this really diverse and dynamic kind of picture of the afterlife.
Right. And like even the descriptions of death itself are so
Yeah.
varied. I mean, some
Yeah.
people describe it like diving into a murky pool and then like coming up into the light.
Right.
And others talk about it like leaving this dark, dangerous forest
Hmm.
and entering a peaceful clearing.
Oh, wow.
And one person even said it was like just blinking your eyes and finding yourself in a whole new reality.
Yeah. You know what really struck me is
Yeah.
how everyone describes the separation of like the spirit from the body
Yeah.
as really painless.
Mm.
Even though dying itself can be physically uncomfortable,
Right.
it's almost like there's this gentle release or letting go.
Yeah, that makes me think about the idea of the silver cord,
Mm.
that energetic connection that like
Right.
links the spirit to the body.
Yeah.
And apparently, like near-death experiences happen when the cord stretches, but it doesn't actually break.
Hmm.
So you get this sneak peek,
Yeah.
but then you get pulled back into like the physical world.
Right. Have you ever had that feeling?
Total.
Like your soul is being kind of pulled in two directions?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Maybe that's the silver cord stretching.
Oh, that's a good point.
Okay.
Okay. So let's say that the cord snaps
Uh-huh.
and you make the complete transition to the other side. What happens next?
Well, according to Cannon's research,
Mhm.
you're met by what they call greeters.
Oh, so you're not just like wandering around lost.
No.
Okay.
These are souls that have like karmic connections to you, almost like a welcoming committee.
Oh, that's nice. Because I would imagine it would be so overwhelming
Yeah.
to suddenly remember all your past lives and have to like adjust to this whole new reality.
Absolutely. It can be very disorienting at first.
Yeah.
But I think what's important to remember is that you are never alone during this transition.
Right.
You know, these greeters are there to help you acclimate to the spiritual plane.
Hmm.
And it's not frightening, but it's more about support and guidance.
Okay. So once you're kind of settled in, what happens next?
Okay, well, the book talks about a life review.
Oh, yeah. But that doesn't mean you're like
Right.
sitting there watching a movie of your whole life.
Not exactly.
No.
It's more like imagine you're seeing a panoramic view
Oh,
of all the key moments and emotions that you experienced during your life.
right.
It's a chance to really understand those lessons and the areas where maybe you could still grow.
Right.
And this all happens in what they call a resting place.
Mm.
And it's not about sleeping.
Okay.
It's more about processing those experiences before you decide what you want to do next.
And that what's next part is so interesting to me
Yeah.
because you can choose to reincarnate,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
But some souls choose to have like a resting life
Right.
where they intentionally have a less challenging incarnation
Mhm.
before they decide to tackle some of those more difficult karmic lessons.
It's like taking a cosmic vacation
Yes, exactly.
before you go on that next big adventure.
I love that. Okay, so the afterlife sounds like it's not
Mhm.
static at all.
No, not at all.
Like souls continue learning and evolving,
Uh-huh.
and there are even like schools
Mhm.
dedicated to helping them expand their understanding.
Exactly, but not schools in the traditional sense.
Yeah.
You know, these are more like environments that are tailored to each soul's experience and understanding.
Like, you know how John described visiting a chamber of colors and light
Right.
during an out-of-body experience?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Imagine receiving healing and guidance from spiritual beings
Mm-hmm.
in this amazing temple-like structure.
Right.
And then there's the tapestry room
Oh, yeah.
where the Akashic records,
Wow.
the record of every soul's experiences
Yeah.
are woven into this giant tapestry.
It's mind-blowing.
Imagine if you could access those records.
Yeah.
What secrets of your past lives
Right.
might you uncover?
It really makes you think about how everything is connected.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the idea that everyone's story is woven into this larger
Hmm.
cosmic tapestry.
And it's not just individuals, right?
Right.
There are even threads representing like groups of souls,
Oh.
like those who care for the natural world.
Yes, Canon calls them elementals.
Mm.
And it's kind of connecting those ancient myths about nature spirits
Right.
to modern accounts of the afterlife.
Right. It makes you think about like
Yeah.
what unseen forces might be at work
Right.
in the natural world around us.
It certainly makes us reconsider
Mm-hmm.
our understanding of the unseen world
Yeah.
and the possibility that there are all sorts of beings out there that we
Yeah.
just can't even comprehend.
Okay. So we've got these schools and this mind-blowing tapestry.
Uh-huh.
And apparently there are also different levels of spiritual existence. Like
Sure.
Earth is on the 5th level.
Okay.
And there are higher planes with schools. And then there's like an 8th and 9th level for these great masters.
Right.
And then a 10th level
Uh-huh.
that represents like oneness with God.
It's like climbing a cosmic ladder
Yeah.
back to the source.
Makes you wonder what those higher levels are like.
It does. And speaking of the source,
Yeah.
the book's description of God is really interesting.
Okay.
It's not a human-like figure,
Yeah.
but more like this all-encompassing energy force, all that there is ever, forever, and ever.
Wow. That's hard to wrap your head around.
It stretches the limits of our comprehension.
Yeah. Like we're all part of this energy.
Right.
Even our like imperfections
Yeah.
are expressions of this divine energy.
It's a mind bender for sure.
Yeah. Totally makes you look at yourself
Uh-huh.
and the world around you in a whole new light.
It encourages you to shift your perspective,
Mm-hmm.
recognizing that there's perfection
Yeah.
inherent in everything,
Really?
even in what we might perceive as flaws or mistakes.
Yeah.
It's about seeing beyond the surface
Right.
and acknowledging that spark of divinity in every being.
Okay. But if we're all part of this divine energy,
Mm-hmm.
where does evil fit into the picture?
Well, the book tackles that.
Okay.
Some pretty big questions, like
Yeah.
the nature of Jesus and the existence of the devil.
Okay.
It's a lot to unpack,
Yeah.
but it's really thought-provoking stuff.
Yeah. I can imagine. All right. So what does it say about Jesus?
Well, canon challenges those traditional interpretations
Okay.
and portrays Jesus not as the literal Son of God,
Hmm.
but more as an emissary
Okay.
from a higher level,
No.
someone who shows to demonstrate love
Right.
and enlightenment
Mm-hmm.
here on earth.
Okay. So what about the devil?
Ah, the devil.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's not a separate entity at all,
Okay.
but more like a thought form
Mm.
that's been created by human fear and belief.
So our thoughts and beliefs can literally shape reality,
It seems so.
even on a spiritual level.
Yeah,
That's heavy stuff.
it is. And it makes you wonder if we can inadvertently create these negative thought forms through fear,
Mm-hmm.
can we also create positive ones through love and understanding?
Oh, that's interesting. Now, about those mischievous elementals,
Oh, yeah.
those nature spirits that we were talking about,
Right.
the book says they can be more than just playful tricksters.
Mm-hmm.
They can actually cause disturbances
Right.
and even possess people with imbalanced energy.
It's like those haunted house stories.
Right.
But instead of ghosts, it's
Right.
these mischievous elementals messing with things.
Okay, so is there any way to like deal with those negative influences?
Well, the good news is
Yeah.
there are ways to protect yourself.
Right.
Things like prayer,
Okay.
calling upon a higher power,
Mm-hmm.
visualizing white light as protection.
So basically confronting fear
Yes.
with compassion and understanding.
It's about shifting the energy
Mhm.
towards harmony.
So instead of like running away from ghosts,
Right.
you can protect yourself
Uh-huh.
and maybe even help those lost souls find peace.
Exactly. And speaking of souls inhabiting bodies,
Oh, yeah.
the book also talks about this concept of walk-ins.
Okay, so what are those?
These are souls who essentially take over a physical body,
Mm.
but they do it with the original soul's permission.
So it's not like a hostile takeover.
No, it's more like a collaborative effort,
Right.
and often it's done to fulfill a specific purpose.
Wow. Imagine waking up one day
Right.
and realizing a different soul is guiding your life.
It sounds like a movie,
Yeah.
but the book gives real-life examples,
Huh.
suggesting that these walk-ins
Mhm.
are often about positive change,
Mm.
helping someone overcome challenges
Right.
or fulfilling a higher purpose.
So it's like a cosmic team up
Yeah, exactly.
for a more impactful life.
It challenges how we think about identity
Yeah.
and the nature of the soul itself.
Okay, get ready for this next one because
Oh, boy.
it's a big one.
Okay.
Pre-birth planning.
Oh, wow.
So before we even incarnate,
Uh-huh.
we apparently observe potential families
Right.
and discuss like life lessons
Yeah.
with our guides
Mm-hmm.
and other souls will be a part of our journey.
Like a cosmic conference room?
I was going to say, it's like you're in this boardroom and you're mapping out your next life and you're choosing your family.
It makes you wonder if our lives aren't just random events.
Carefully orchestrated journeys designed for soul growth and evolution.
So that random decision to move to a new city or to take on a challenging job, could that be part of like a pre-birth plan?
Exactly.
To advance your soul's journey?
It's a possibility.
Wow, that really reframes the whole idea of fate and free will.
It does.
It suggests that we have way more agency
Yeah.
in shaping our destiny than we realize.
It's empowering, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
It really is. And that kind of brings us to the idea of karma.
Oh, yeah. Karma.
What is that all about?
Yeah, like I always wondered about that. Is it like a cosmic scorecard, you know? Keeping track of our good deeds and bad deeds?
Not exactly.
Okay.
Think of it more like a cause and effect system.
Okay.
You know, a way for the universe to maintain balance and harmony.
Okay.
So our actions, both positive and negative, they create ripples that eventually come back to us.
Okay, so it's not like
a tit for tat thing.
No, it's about understanding the consequences of our choices and using those experiences to make more compassionate choices.
So like learning empathy.
Exactly. Sometimes experiencing the pain that we've inflicted on others can be the most powerful catalyst for change.
Right.
But it works the other way too.
Okay.
Those acts of kindness and generosity, those ripples come back to us as well.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about those times when it seems like good people are facing terrible suffering? How does that fit into the idea of karma?
Well, canon suggests that sometimes souls actually volunteer for those challenging experiences to work out significant karma in a condensed form.
So it's like opting for that really intense workout.
Exactly. To reach your fitness goals faster.
So like a karmic fast track.
Yeah.
To help your soul evolve more quickly.
Exactly. It's a different way of looking at those tough times.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But if we choose these difficult experiences before we're even born, why don't we remember making those choices?
You know, it would be nice to have a heads up sometimes.
I know, right?
Well, canon suggests that forgetting is essential for fully immersing ourselves in the human experience.
Okay.
You know, imagine if you remember all your past lives and all the choices that you made.
Yeah.
It would be hard to embrace this present moment.
Right. It would be like watching a movie.
Yes.
And knowing the ending.
Exactly.
It spoils the suspense.
That veil of forgetfulness allows us to experience the full spectrum of human emotions, to learn from our mistakes, and to grow through those challenges.
Okay. I can see how that makes sense. But if we don't remember making these pre-birth choices, how can we know if we're on the right track?
Right.
How can we be sure we're fulfilling our soul's purpose?
Well, canon points to intuition as our guide.
Okay.
It's that inner voice, whispering guidance and leading us towards the choices that resonate with our deepest values.
I get that. But sometimes that inner voice is so hard to hear.
Yeah.
You know, with all the external distractions and conflicting opinions pulling us in different directions.
And that's where practices like meditation, mindfulness, even spending time in nature can be so helpful.
So you're saying it's about quieting the mind.
Yes.
And tuning into our inner landscape.
Creating space for that intuition to surface.
So like decluttering your mind.
Exactly.
To make room for new ideas.
Speaking of inspiration, let's talk about spiritual awakening.
Okay, so is that just like having a sudden epiphany or a mystical experience?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
It can be a gradual unfolding.
Okay.
A journey of self-discovery that manifests in so many ways.
Okay.
It could be a shift in perspective, a deepening sense of compassion, even a heightened awareness of those synchronicities or coincidences. Oh, yeah.
It seemed to have meaning.
Like when you suddenly feel incredibly grateful for all the simple things in life.
Yeah.
Or you just notice the beauty
exactly
in those everyday experiences.
It's about recognizing that interconnectedness, realizing that we're not separate from the universe, but an integral part of this vast web of life.
Okay, I love that. But this idea of interconnectedness brings up a big question.
Okay.
If we're all connected,
yeah,
how can we explain evil and suffering in the world?
Right. That's a question that's been around for centuries.
Yeah.
And canon offers this unique perspective.
Okay.
Evil and suffering aren't inherent aspects of creation.
Okay.
But they're consequences of our choices, a necessary part of our spiritual evolution.
So it's not like this cosmic battle between good and evil.
Right.
It's more about the choices we make
Yes.
and the lessons we learn.
Exactly.
That's a big shift from how we often think about it.
The book suggests that we have this free will.
To choose between love and fear,
Right.
compassion and selfishness, unity and separation.
Okay.
And those choices shape not just our own individual reality,
Right.
but our collective reality as well.
Okay. I see what you mean. But if we have free will,
Yeah.
why do so many people choose paths that lead to suffering?
Right. Both for themselves and others.
It's hard to understand sometimes.
It is a good question. And Cannon suggests that a lot of the suffering in the world comes from a lack of awareness, a disconnect from our true nature as spiritual beings.
So when we identify solely with our egos
Yeah.
and material desires, we create separation,
Yeah.
competition, and conflict.
It's like forgetting that we're all on the same team and playing this zero-sum where one person's gain is another person's loss.
Right. Not exactly a recipe for happiness.
No, it's not. But there's hope.
Okay.
As we awaken to our true nature,
Mm-hmm.
we start making choices that are more aligned with love, compassion, and unity.
So it's not about eradicating evil,
Right.
but evolving our consciousness.
Exactly.
Shifting from a fear-based mindset to one that's rooted in love.
Precisely.
Mm.
And as more individuals awaken,
Yeah.
the collective consciousness of humanity starts to shift as well,
Right.
creating a more harmonious and peaceful world.
So it's like that idea of a critical mass
Yes.
of awakened individuals can actually tip the scales
Exactly.
and shift the balance of power from fear to love.
A powerful image.
It is.
Yeah.
And that brings us to this really fascinating idea of Earth as a school for souls. Cannon suggests that our planet is a unique environment
Right.
for spiritual growth,
Yeah.
that it offers experiences and challenges that accelerate our evolution. So it's not just about surviving and getting through life. It's about learning and growing as souls.
Exactly. Every experience, every relationship, every challenge, it's all an opportunity to learn, to shed those limiting beliefs and expand our consciousness.
That's a great way to think about it. But if Earth is a school, who are the teachers?
Well, in a sense, we're all teachers for each other. We reflect each other's strengths and weaknesses. We offer support and guidance and challenge each other to grow.
Okay.
And of course, we also have our spiritual guides, mentors who are always there to help us.
So it's like a giant interactive classroom.
Yes.
Where we're constantly learning from each other
Exactly.
and evolving together.
And as we progress through this school of life, we eventually graduate to higher levels of consciousness.
So it's like earning a cosmic degree.
I like that.
But instead of a piece of paper, you receive a deeper understanding of yourself and your place in the universe.
The knowledge and wisdom that we acquire becomes part of that collective consciousness, contributing to the ongoing evolution of all beings.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
But it makes me wonder if we're all evolving together, why does there seem to be such a gap between those who are spiritually awakened and those who are still asleep?
Well, each soul has its own timeline for awakening, its own pace for learning and evolving.
Right.
Some dive right into the depths of consciousness, while others prefer a more gradual approach, slowly dipping their toes into those spiritual waters.
So it's not about judging where someone is on their path.
Exactly.
But respecting their individual journey.
Everyone's on their own timeline.
Right. But for those who are struggling to find their way, who feel lost and disconnected, what advice does Cannon offer?
She emphasizes self-reflection.
Okay.
Taking the time to connect with our inner landscape and explore the beliefs and patterns that are shaping our experiences.
So like taking inventory of your mental and emotional baggage, identifying what's holding us back.
Exactly. And she offers a lot of techniques for self-reflection, from journaling and meditation to working with a therapist or spiritual counselor.
So it's about finding those tools and the support that resonate with you.
Right.
And making that space for inner exploration and healing.
The journey of self-discovery isn't always easy.
Right.
But the rewards can be immeasurable as we let go of those limiting beliefs and embrace our true nature. We experience a greater sense of peace, joy, and fulfillment.
It's like shedding that heavy coat.
Yes.
And finally feeling free to move with ease and grace.
And that sense of freedom extends beyond our individual lives. You know, it ripples outwards and contributes to the collective awakening of humanity.
Now, this idea of collective awakening,
Yeah.
it leads to a question that's probably in a lot of people's minds.
Okay.
What does the future hold for humanity?
Mm-hmm.
Does Cannon's book offer any insights into the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead?
Well, she suggests that humanity is at a crossroads.
Okay.
You know, we face this choice between continuing down a path of fear, separation, and destruction, or embracing a new paradigm that's built on love, unity, and cooperation.
It's like a cosmic fork in the road.
Exactly.
One path leads to a dystopian future, and the other leads to this more harmonious and enlightened world.
And the choices that we make, individually and collectively, will determine which direction we go.
So, if the future is so uncertain, what can we do to contribute to a more positive outcome? Like, how can we make sure that we're heading in the right direction?
Well, Cannon really emphasizes individual transformation. You know, as we awaken to our true nature and embody love, compassion, and unity, we become beacons of light, radiating those energies outwards and influencing that collective consciousness.
So it's not about waiting for someone else to save us, but becoming the change that we want to see.
Exactly. Every act of kindness, every expression of compassion, every choice that aligns with love contributes to that collective awakening of humanity.
Like that idea that even small acts of love can ripple outwards and create a more positive and harmonious world.
Precisely. And as more individuals choose love over fear, we create this powerful momentum for change. A force that can truly transform the world.
But what about those who are actively working against that positive transformation? You know, those who are clinging to power, greed, and control. It can feel like they're holding everyone back.
Well, Cannon suggests that even those individuals play a role in the grand scheme of things. They serve as catalysts for growth and awakening.
Even if their actions seem destructive on the surface.
Exactly. We can learn from those who embody the qualities that we wish to transcend.
So they're like mirrors. Reflecting back our own shadows. And offering us opportunities to grow.
Like the idea that darkness can't exist without light. That those challenges we face help us to appreciate and embody love and compassion.
Even more deeply.
Exactly. And Cannon reminds us that the journey of spiritual awakening isn't about judging or condemning those who are still asleep, but it's about offering compassion and a willingness to help them awaken to their true potential.
So we're all in this together.
Yes.
And offering a hand to those who are struggling.
We've all been there at some point.
Now, speaking of challenges, Cannon's book talks about earth changes.
Yes.
You know, suggesting that our planet is undergoing a transformation, a shift in consciousness. That's reflected in both the physical and spiritual realms.
It's more relevant now than ever.
It really is. What's interesting is that Cannon wrote this book before. A lot of those current discussions about climate change and environmental challenges.
And yet her insights align perfectly with the growing awareness of the link between our actions and the health of our planet.
So it's not just about the physical changes happening on Earth, but about a shifting consciousness. Like a collective awakening to our interconnectedness with nature.
And it goes beyond just being environmentally conscious. It's about a deeper understanding of our role as stewards of the earth, recognizing that we're not separate from nature, but a part of this intricate web of life.
So it's not just about recycling and reducing our carbon footprint. It's about cultivating a reverence for nature. Recognizing that Earth is a living being that deserves our respect and care.
A beautiful way to put it.
And this shift is already happening.
It is.
You see more and more people embracing a more holistic and sustainable way of life.
It's like we're collectively waking up to that interconnectedness and realizing that our well-being is inseparable from the well-being of our planet.
And Cannon's work offers hope.
Yes.
Suggesting that as we align our actions with this understanding, we can create a more harmonious and sustainable future.
For ourselves and for generations to come.
Wow. We've covered so much ground in this deep dive.
We have.
Into Dolores Cannon's Between Death and Life.
It's been a journey.
I mean, we've explored the afterlife, reincarnation, karma, spiritual awakening,
the nature of God,
guides, the Akashic records, earth changes.
So much.
And so much more.
What stands out to you the most?
For me, the biggest takeaway is that we're not just physical beings having a spiritual experience.
Right.
We're spiritual beings having a physical experience.
That's a profound insight.
I know. It really changes how I see myself and my place in the universe.
It echoes that core message of Canon's work. You know, recognizing our true nature as eternal souls.
Right.
Constantly evolving and expanding our consciousness.
Through those cycles of reincarnation, it's humbling and empowering.
It is.
Humbling because it reminds us that we're part of something much greater than ourselves.
Yeah.
And empowering because it shows us that we have this incredible capacity for growth, transformation, and love.
Absolutely. And can bring such a sense of meaning and purpose to our lives.
Right. It helps us face those challenges with more resilience.
Yes.
And embrace the beauty of existence with open hearts.
Speaking of open hearts, that brings up a question.
Okay.
If we're eternal souls, what's the point of all this effort?
Right.
Why bother striving to learn and evolve if we're just going to come back and do it all over again?
Yeah, it can feel like a hamster wheel sometimes.
It can. Canon suggests that the journey of spiritual evolution isn't about reaching some final destination or achieving ultimate perfection. It's about the process itself. The expansion of consciousness, the ever-deepening experience of love and connection.
So it's not about the finish line.
Right.
But the journey itself.
Exactly.
The challenges, the lessons, the love that we share.
The impact that we make.
That's a beautiful way to look at it.
The ultimate goal isn't escaping reincarnation, but embracing it.
Okay.
Seeing each lifetime as a chance to learn, to grow, and to contribute to the evolution of all beings.
It's like leveling up in a video game.
Yes.
With each challenge you overcome, your character gains new skills and abilities.
And the spiritual evolution never ends.
Wow.
It's a spiral of growth that unfolds even after we transition from the physical world.
But this never-ending journey,
it
can be both exciting and a little daunting.
Right.
If we're constantly evolving, does that mean there's no rest? No ultimate peace or bliss?
Well, Canon suggests that true peace and bliss aren't found in some distant future or another realm. They're experienced here and now in the present moment through cultivating love, compassion, and gratitude.
So it's not about escaping the challenges, but finding peace and joy within them.
True spiritual growth isn't about transcending the human experience, but embracing it. Finding beauty and meaning in both the joys and the sorrows, the triumphs and challenges that make up that tapestry of life.
That's a powerful message.
It is.
It makes me think about the fear of death. How can we overcome that and embrace the transition to the afterlife with more peace and acceptance?
It's something we all grapple with.
Right.
Canon suggests that the fear of death often stems from a misunderstanding of what death is. It's not an ending, but a transition. You know, consciousness continues, but in a different form.
Like graduating from one school to another, moving on to a new chapter in that never-ending journey.
And Canon shares so many examples of people experiencing this transition as peaceful and joyful.
Wow.
Describing it as a homecoming, a reunion with loved ones, an opportunity to continue their spiritual evolution. But in a realm that's free from the limitations of the physical world.
So it's not about clinging to this life.
No.
But embracing that next chapter.
Yes.
With curiosity and a sense of adventure.
It changes the whole perspective, doesn't it?
It does. And as we cultivate that deeper understanding of the afterlife and the nature of consciousness, that fear of death naturally dissolves. It's replaced with peace, acceptance, even anticipation for what's to come.
It's a comforting thought.
Yeah. But it makes me wonder, if death isn't the end, what happens to our loved ones who have passed on?
Right.
Are they still with us in some way?
That's a question that's close to many people's hearts.
Yeah.
And Canon suggests that our loved ones in the afterlife are still connected to us through those bonds of love and energy.
So even though they're not physically present, their presence can still be felt in our hearts, our dreams. In those moments when we feel this unexpected surge of love or support.
Like when you sense your grandmother's presence,
Yeah.
even though she's no longer physically here, or you receive a message of comfort.
Right.
That feels like it comes from a loved one who has passed.
Right. Love transcends time and space.
It does.
The connections that we forge with our loved ones, they continue even after physical separation.
It's a beautiful reminder that death doesn't end love. It just transforms how it's expressed.
And are there ways to connect with our loved ones who have passed?
Well, canon suggests things like meditation, visualization, or even working with a medium.
Who can help facilitate communication between realms.
Okay, so while we grieve their physical absence, we can find comfort knowing that their love and their presence are still with us.
And as we understand the interconnectedness of all things, we can experience that presence not just in fleeting moments, but as a constant source of love and support.
Okay, let's shift gears for a minute and talk about something that often causes a lot of debate and controversy. The nature of God.
All right, a big one.
Yeah. Does canon offer any insights into this eternal question?
She does, and it's fascinating.
Okay.
She suggests that God isn't this singular being, you know, in a distant heaven.
Right.
But more like this all-encompassing energy force.
Okay.
The source of all creation, the consciousness that flows through everything.
So not a bearded man in the sky, judging our every action.
Right.
But this omnipresent force of love.
Yes.
Intelligence and creative energy.
It's a very different way of thinking about it. Yeah. It is. And she says we're all part of this divine energy.
We are expressions of God's infinite creativity and love.
Like we're drops of water in this vast ocean of consciousness.
Beautiful analogy.
Inseparable from the source.
And as we awaken to our true nature as spiritual beings, we experience that deeper connection to this divine source.
Right. So God isn't separate from us.
No.
It resides within us.
It does within every cell, within every aspect of creation.
But this idea of God as this all-encompassing energy force can be hard to grasp.
It can.
You know, we're so used to personifying God.
Right, giving it human qualities.
Right.
It's understandable. We humans tend to understand things through the lens of our own experience.
Right. But even though we use language and imagery to describe God, canon suggests that the reality of this divine force is beyond human comprehension.
It is. It's like trying to describe the taste of chocolate.
I was going to say,
to someone who's never tasted it. Words only go so far.
But the idea of experiencing God directly can be intimidating.
It can.
A lot of people feel unworthy or unprepared.
Absolutely.
With that kind of encounter.
It's a common feeling.
Right.
But canon emphasizes that God isn't this judgmental being waiting to punish us for our flaws.
Okay.
It's this loving, compassionate force that welcomes us with open arms, no matter where we are on our journey.
It's like the unconditional love of a parent.
Yes. Embracing their child regardless of mistakes.
Okay, so the path to experiencing God's love, it's not about striving for perfection or following all these rules. It's more about...
It's about cultivating an open heart, surrendering to life's flow.
Right.
And being grateful for this gift of existence.
We've explored the afterlife, reincarnation, karma, spiritual awakening.
We have.
Even the nature of God.
Right.
But what about other spiritual traditions? And belief systems? Does canon's work support or contradict other teachings about the afterlife and reality?
Well, canon's work is unique.
Yeah.
You know, it draws from these hypnotic regression sessions and the experiences of people in these expanded states of consciousness.
Okay.
And while her findings might differ from some of those traditional religious doctrines, they often echo those core spiritual principles that are found across many traditions.
So it's not about choosing one belief system over another, but recognizing those threads that connect different spiritual teachings.
Exactly. Canon suggests that different cultures and traditions might use different words and imagery to describe the afterlife and reality.
Yeah.
But those underlying truths are remarkably similar.
Like those optical illusions.
Yes.
Where you see different images.
Exactly.
Depending on your perspective.
Canon encourages people to approach different spiritual traditions with an open mind.
Recognizing that each one offers this unique perspective on the mysteries of existence.
We can learn from all of them.
Okay, but This whole idea of respecting different beliefs. Yeah. It brings up a question that's especially relevant in our world today. Okay. What about people who hold beliefs that are harmful or destructive? Yeah. Right. How do we reconcile tolerance with the need to address those ideologies that promote hatred and violence and division? Yeah. It's a tough balancing act. It is. It's so important to respect everyone's right to their own beliefs. Right. But it's also important to speak out against those ideologies that promote harm. And to work toward creating a world where everyone is treated with dignity and respect. So it's about finding that balance between tolerance and accountability. Exactly. Freedom of belief shouldn't give anyone the right to hurt others. Absolutely. And canon suggests that creating a more harmonious world isn't about forcing others to conform to our beliefs, but it's about cultivating compassion, understanding, and a willingness to have those respectful dialogues, even when we disagree. It's like the idea that light can dispel darkness. Exactly. By radiating love and understanding, we can help transform those who are trapped in fear and negativity. That's a beautiful way to put it. The journey of spiritual evolution. It's not just about individual transformation. Right. It's also about contributing to the collective awakening of humanity. Right. Working together to create a world where everyone can thrive. Now, this idea of working together to create a better world, it leads to a question that's probably on a lot of listeners' minds. Okay. What can we do in our daily lives to contribute to this positive transformation? Right. What can we actually do? Yeah. Does canon offer any practical guidance? She does. Okay. For putting these principles into action. Okay. She emphasizes the power of our thoughts, beliefs, and intentions. She reminds us that we're constantly creating our reality, both individually and collectively. So by choosing thoughts that align with love, compassion, and unity, we contribute to creating a more harmonious world. So it's not just our actions, but the energy that we put out into the world. Yes, our thoughts, our beliefs, our intentions. It's about cultivating a positive inner world that then radiates outward. Our thoughts have a ripple effect, in influencing the collective consciousness and shaping the reality that we experience. It's like the idea that a single candle can illuminate a dark room. Exactly. Even small acts of love and kindness can have a huge impact. As we become more aware of our thoughts and intentions, we can choose to align them with our highest values. Okay. We can radiate love, compassion, and healing out into the world. But consciously choosing our thoughts, it can be really tough. It can. We're constantly bombarded with negative news. Right. Stressful situations, difficult relationships. Yeah, it's easy to get pulled down. Right. But we have the power to choose how we respond to those challenges. We can react with negativity and perpetuate that cycle of fear and suffering. Yeah. Or we can respond with love, compassion, and understanding. Okay. And break that cycle. Right. And contribute to a more positive world. So it's not about denying our emotions. No. It's more about becoming aware of them. Yes. And choosing how we express them. Exactly. And ultimately transforming that negativity into something more constructive. Precisely. And there are so many techniques that we can use to cultivate positive emotions and transform that negative energy. Like what? Well, things like meditation, mindfulness affirmations, gratitude practices, the list goes on and on. So it's like you're learning to reprogram your mental and emotional software. Replacing those negative patterns with more positive ones. Yeah. And as we do that, we create this more harmonious inner world. Exactly. And contribute to a more peaceful and loving world around us. It ripples outwards. We've talked about thoughts and intentions. Yeah. What about actions? Right. What are some practical things we can do to actually put these spiritual principles into practice? Well, canon emphasizes living in alignment with our values. Okay. Making choices that reflect our deepest truths and contribute to the well-being of ourselves and others. So walking the talk. Yes, putting those beliefs into action. Not just thinking about it, but doing it. Exactly. And these actions don't have to be grand or heroic. Right. They can be simple acts of kindness, generosity, and compassion. Okay. Offering a helping hand to someone in need. Okay. Speaking up for those who are marginalized. Or even just listening with an open heart to someone who's struggling. Like the idea that even small acts of love can ripple outwards and change the world. One interaction at a time. I love that. Now, living with greater purpose brings up another question.
Okay.
What is our individual purpose?
Right. How do we find that?
Yeah. How do we uncover our unique gifts and talents?
Yeah.
And use them to make a difference?
Canon suggests that each soul has a unique purpose. You know, a special set of gifts and talents to share with the world in this lifetime.
It's like we're all born with this special mission.
Exactly. A cosmic assignment to fulfill.
I love that. So how do we discover our purpose?
Well, we need to connect with our intuition.
Okay.
That inner voice that's guiding us towards our soul's true calling.
But that can be hard to hear sometimes.
It can be, especially with all those external expectations and societal pressures.
Right. Those can really lead us astray.
They can, but we can cultivate our intuition through things like meditation, mindfulness, and spending time in nature.
So creating space for that inner wisdom to come through.
Exactly.
And guide us.
As we learn to trust our intuition and follow those heartfelt desires.
Okay.
We begin to align with our soul's purpose.
Right. And that's where we find that true fulfillment.
That's where the joy is.
Yeah. But this whole idea of following your heart's desires, it can be tricky. Sometimes our desires lead us down paths that aren't so great.
Right. For ourselves or for others.
Right. Exactly.
So it's important to distinguish between desires that are coming from our ego, from a place of fear, lack, or insecurity.
Right.
Versus those that are coming from our soul. A place of love, compassion, and service.
So it's not about blindly following every whim.
Exactly.
It's about figuring out which desires are truly aligned with our soul's purpose.
Yes, and the greater good.
It's like we need a filter for our desires.
As we deepen our connection to our intuition and spiritual guidance, we get better at recognizing which desires are truly for our highest good and which ones are just distractions or detours on our path.
It's like we develop this spiritual compass.
Yes.
To help us navigate all those complexities of life.
And make choices that are leading us in the right direction.
And when we align with our soul's purpose and use our gifts to help others, we experience a much deeper sense of fulfillment and joy and meaning in our lives.
It's not just about our own personal success. It's about making a positive difference in the world.
Contributing to something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. And when we live in alignment with our purpose, we become like beacons of light.
Yeah.
You know, radiating compassion and healing.
Right.
Inspiring others to do the same.
Like we're all sparks of the divine.
Yes.
And when we shine brightly, we make it easier for others to find their way.
As more individuals awaken to their soul's purpose and use their gifts to help others, we create this collective force for good.
Right.
This wave of positive change that can truly transform the world.
This idea of transforming the world feels so relevant right now.
It does.
There are so many challenges facing us as a global community.
Right.
So does Canon offer any insights?
She does into how we can navigate these turbulent times and create a more peaceful and sustainable future. She suggests that the challenges we're facing, they're not punishments or random events.
Right.
They're opportunities for growth and transformation.
Both individually and collectively.
Exactly. She emphasizes that we are all co-creators of our reality.
So the choices that we make.
Yeah, both individually and collectively.
They determine what the future looks like.
They do.
Okay, so it's not about waiting for someone else to save us.
Right.
It's about taking responsibility.
Yes, for our thoughts, our beliefs, and our actions.
And recognizing that we have the power
we do
to create a better world.
And to create that more positive and harmonious future, we need to shift from a fear-based mindset to one that's based on love.
Okay.
Choosing thoughts, beliefs, and actions that reflect compassion, unity, and a deep respect for all beings.
But this idea of shifting our consciousness, it can feel so overwhelming.
It can. It's a big concept.
Where do we even begin?
Well, Canon suggests that transformation starts within each individual.
Okay.
You know, it's about making a conscious choice to cultivate love, compassion, and understanding in our own lives.
Like that saying, be the change you want to see in the world.
Exactly. And as you said earlier, even small acts of kindness they ripple outwards.
Yeah.
It's like that single drop of water creating a ripple that spreads across a pond.
So as more and more people choose love over fear, we create that collective force for good.
Yes, a powerful momentum for positive change.
That can transform the world.
That can transform the world.
Wow, we've covered so much in our deep dive into Dolores Cannon's Between Death and Life.
We have.
You know, we've explored some really big ideas.
Yeah.
The nature of reality, the afterlife.
Karma, reincarnation.
The power of spiritual awakening.
The purpose of life.
The purpose of life itself.
It's been a thought-provoking journey.
It really has. What are you taking away from our conversation?
I think what stands out to me most is that reminder that we're not alone in any of this.
Right.
Whether we're dealing with those challenges in this life, or transitioning to the afterlife, we're surrounded by a loving presence.
Right.
Guided and supported every step of the way.
That's a beautiful insight.
And it speaks to the heart of Cannon's work. You know, we are eternal souls connected to this incredible web of life.
Right.
And love is that force that binds us all together.
It's a message that brings comfort, hope, and a deep sense of meaning to life.
It does.
Even in the midst of challenges.
Yeah.
There's always something to celebrate. A reason to love, a reason to live.
It's an invitation to embrace the journey.
To explore the mysteries of existence with open hearts and minds. And to trust that we're exactly where we need to be.
Yeah.
Guided every step of the way.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive.
My pleasure.
Into Between Death and Life.
That's been great.
I hope this has sparked your curiosity.
Yeah.
And inspired you to keep exploring these amazing and transformative ideas.
Keep seeking.
Keep seeking. Keep questioning.
Diving deep.
And keep diving deep. We'll see you next time.